So, Carnegie is our next presenter from Media Circus. Now, he's originally from northern Manitoba and has been working in television, broadcasting, and corporate video for 10 years. He's also in the greatest and best band in the world, the Unwinders. Anyone? Right? I know. Amazing. Apart from being a rock star, he loves to share with other people stuff that he finds interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, Scott Carnegie.
Hello, everybody. Today, I'm going to tell share a personal story, so if you'll indulge me while I do that. This is my family. From me, I'm on the left, obviously, then Avery, Maya, Jeremy, Marku, and my wife, Sarah, who's here at the back with me tonight. I'm starting off with this picture in order to give some context to this presentation and why I chose the subject that I did. I have 5 brothers and sisters, and I knew that I wanted to have a large family as well, and I kind of succeeded. Something about me, I'm not nostalgic, I'm not religious, I'm not cultural, but I am Scottish. That's the Carnegie tartan on the left and the coat of arms on the right. I've always sort of identified with my Scottish heritage, even though I don't really practice any Scottish traditions, and I can only maybe tell you 1 or 2 things that are Scottish, like bagpipes and sword dancing. That's about haggis. That's about all I know. But I really love genealogy. My family knows this, and we have a lot of people to keep track of. That's my great-great-grandpa, William Carnegie, on the left side of the picture wearing the kilt. And that's the genealogy from me to William Carnegie. A week ago, my cousin Regina asked me for some old pictures for a project she was doing, and I dug into an archive that I recently got from this lady. This is Jean Carnegie. This is my great-auntie. Sorry. She was born in 1940. I'm sorry, she was born in 1915. This picture is from 1940 in Manitoba. She died in 2007 when she was 91 years old. She was never married. She had no children. She's my grandpa's sister, and she outlived a lot of her siblings. On the left is Jean and her dad in Ottawa. When she lived in Ottawa, she worked for the federal government. She would communicate with Washington, D.C. during the war on a teletypewriter, which is pictured on the right there. They were used to communicate messages typed over wires and radio or microwaves. I never knew that about her until recently. My earliest memories of her would be at Christmas time when I was a kid, getting gifts from her at Christmas that were usually sort of religious, and they'd have a letter. They would have like a cross or some sort of artifact, a plaque with a religious symbol. I remember my dad didn't really like the gifts that she gave us, so all I knew of her at the time was that she was this lady that I didn't really know that would send us religious stuff. Like I mentioned, she was religious. She attended a church in downtown Winnipeg called the Element Chapel, and she handed out religious tract on the street. She's one of those people that would want to talk to you on the street, and she gave most of her possessions and money to the church, as far as I know. She was somewhat outcast from her family because of this. She wasn't invited to a lot of family events. You can see me really making use of PowerPoint here, where none of these pictures, she's not in any of these pictures with her and her siblings. These are some of the pictures that I found in the archive that I inherited from her. And I don't know if that's because of circumstances or travel issues, but I just know that there was a certain level of they didn't really want her around so much because she was kind of preachy, I guess. That's Jean in the middle, dressed in white. This is the only picture I found of her with her siblings. To our left is my grandpa Don, her brother, who died about a year after this photo was taken. I'm told that at that point she was beginning to show the signs of dementia, and I didn't ever know her when she had a clear mind. She lived in an apartment in Winnipeg until the mid-90s when she moved to Lions Manor on Portage Avenue. She had no income, and her housing was paid by a public trustee. I started going to visit her when I moved to Winnipeg in 2000. I really wanted to get to know her and ask her questions about her history and sort of add to my genealogy research, because that's something I enjoy doing. From the time I saw her, I didn't know what she would look like when I showed up there. I hadn't seen pictures of her. She was pointed out to me by a staff member. She was sitting in a common area looking outside the window. It was a fall day. I sat down and talked to her and introduced myself, and I remember she was wearing a yellow sweater. It took some time for her to understand who I was, and it was hard for her to hear. She was deaf in one ear. After I got married, my wife and I made regular visits, with our children. She loved to hold them and talk to them and gently caress their cheeks. The staff told us that when we started visiting, her spirits really rose and her health improved. Here she is with our first son, Jeremy. We'd visit for about an hour, and we'd chat. It was quite pleasant. And I was a little scared taking her out of the Lions Manor because of her health issues. I wouldn't know how to help her if there was an accident or something. She was in a wheelchair. But for a long time, she got better, and she was walking with a walker, so it's a little bit easier to take her out. And here she is visiting at our apartment, I think at Thanksgiving, I believe. So And this with my son Avery. I love that picture. He looks like huge. Every time we visited Auntie Jean, we had to reintroduce ourselves. I say, I'm Scott, Ernie's son. Don, your brother, is my grandpa. And I could see the lights sort of turn on, and she'd remember who we were. After a while, though, she'd forget again, and she'd kind of ask, well, who are you? And I say, I'm Scott, Ernie's son. When I mentioned my grandpa, she'd ask how he was doing, even though he had been dead since 1992. And she was at his funeral even, but like I said, she has dementia. She didn't remember things. I say, oh, he's fine. He's living up in the paw. Everybody's good. There's really no reason to tell her the truth. This is my second son, Avery. She could hold the kid steady, but he was a big guy, so she couldn't lift him. Jean liked to talk about church with us. She would ask us if we went to church, and I'd say yes, which was the truth at the time. And she would ask us where, and I would tell her, and she'd get this look on her face. I'm not going to try to do an impression, because she would go like, oh, you're so silly. Why do you go there? That's kind of the impression I got from her. As our family grew, we had less time to see her. Our visits weren't as regular, and I feel guilty about that. The kids never resisted going. They liked it. It was kind of a fun place. They had lots of room to run around, and they would help her find her glasses or her book. And here she is with our daughter, who was 2 months old at the time. About a month after this visit, Jean fell out of her bed and broke her leg. I went and met her at the hospital, and she was in a lot of pain and confused. I tried to talk to her and comfort her, but it was pretty rough. A few weeks later, I got a call from the staff at the Lions Matter. And they said that she had stopped eating and it was time to come see her off, and she died later that night. She had a big impact on my life, and my oldest son still remembers going to visit her and using her walker in the hallways. After she died, we went through her belongings and some photos in a journal, a few other knickknacks. We sort of inherited them because she didn't have any other local family. I still have her easy chair in my living room. It's very comfortable. But she had this really awesome suitcase. And I love this thing. That's my daughter Maya in this suitcase for a little photo shoot that we did. And I use it to haul around my magic props. I'm a hobbyist magician, and I have all my stuff in there. I felt it was really appropriate because it's such a retro-looking suitcase, and I just love it. So please remember your elderly relatives. Visit them, get to know them, learn about them. Thank you for letting me talk about my Auntie Jean.
How refreshing. Thank you, Scott.